This is a $10 set. We get sets like this almost every wave, and this is a massive $300 set, which you usually only get once every couple of years. In this video, I'm going to be looking at tons of super cheap and super expensive Ninjago sets just to see how good both of these can be. So let's get right into it, starting off with the cheap Ninjago sets. So, we've been getting cheap Ninjago sets since the beginning of Ninjago with the Ninjago pilots. We got the Ninja Training Outpost for $5 and the Ninja Ambush for $7. Now, in my opinion, both of these sets were absolutely fantastic and great for children especially, as they offered a cheap way to get their favorite characters and sets. This trend continued in Season 1 with the Venomari Shrine, and later even in 2013 for Season 2 we got Kai's Fire Mech, which featured a much more substantial build. By this time we had established a pattern for cheap sets in Ninjago. For somewhere between $5 to $10 you would get around 1 to 2 minifigures and a small to medium sized build. They would later continue on this pattern in future waves, like this Hover Hunter from Rebooted and the Jungle Trap and Lava Falls from the Tournament of Elements wave. We're still getting sets like this to this day. I think it's important to mention, like Lloyd's Journey from a couple of years ago, and most recently, Zane's Motorcycle. We also had LEGO experimenting for a while, putting bigger builds with only one minifigure in sets, and I think that also worked out okay. My favorite sets, however, are when LEGO mixes it up for this price range. For example, this is Jay's Mech Battle Pack, which came out earlier this year. It features 4 great minifigures and a pretty good build in my opinion. The reason I love this set so much is because it is exactly the set that I would have wanted as a kid. It features a really fun build that you can play around with quite a bit, and it features 4 great minifigures that I don't have to spend a lot of money to get because they're all in a $10 set. Also, another set that I really like, I've mentioned this before, but we have Kai's Fire Mech. And I absolutely love this set because, again, it has a really, really nice build. This is probably the best mech at this scale. I love how they did the shaping around the shoulders. And this has to be one of my favorite $10 Ninjago sets of all time, just because of the mech. However, I think that it's important to note that sets aren't the only cheap products that Ninjago has put out there. For example, every year we get these gimmick sets that feature some sort of cool gimmick, like with these Rising Dragon Strike sets or these spinners from prior years. And I think that these sets are absolutely fantastic, as back in 2011 you would have a chance to get all of your favorite characters for just around $10, which I think is a great deal and again a fantastic value for children. But we can go even cheaper than that. As of late, LEGO has started to release more and more great polybags, and I am all for it. For starters, we got this Tournament Battlegrounds polybag, and this has to take the cake for one of my favorite polybags of all time. It comes with 2 minifigures, which is exactly what a $10 set would normally come with, and not gonna lie, this build is also super fun. The polybags have just been increasingly getting better and better, and last year's polybag was pretty good too in my opinion, getting Kai and Rapton, both of which are pretty nice minifigures, all in one $5 set. I think that that's a great value for children. There's also a bunch of other polybags that LEGO has released that I'm not going to mention in this video, but overall, polybags are great for children. I would have loved them as a kid, and my only complaint with polybags is that I wish that they were more easily accessible. I mean, they're exclusive to LEGO stores, and even then, they're not super easy to get your hands on, so most people just end up reselling them on Amazon for somewhere around $10, which is still not a terrible price, but I wish LEGO could make these easier to get. So to recap, Ninjago has always been a great budget theme. One of its biggest strengths has been its ability to produce great, cheap sets for children, and it's no doubt one of the reasons that Ninjago was so popular among children and why it's still so popular among children to this day. But now, taking a look at the other side of the spectrum, you see in the 2016 to 2017 era, Ninjago had a little bit of a problem. Most of the fandom that had been watching since the pilots were all grown up and were now in like high school or college, which means the same cheap sets wouldn't work for them anymore and they wouldn't be as interested to buy them. LEGO Solutions make it bigger. And thus, for the Ninjago movie that was released in 2017, we got tons of big sets, $100 sets, $150 sets, $200 sets, and even $300 sets that we'll be looking at later. So let's get right into it. Some of the most expensive Ninjago sets, and I know I have to talk about the Ninjago City sets. Most of these sets are in contention for the best Ninjago set of all time. These sets are just a league above the rest. We got Ninjago City sets in 2017, 2018, 2021, and 2023. And I hope that we keep getting Ninjago City sets every 1 to 2 years. Let's start off with the first Ninjago City set named Ninjago City. This is the one that started it all, and it might also be one of my favorites. For starters, it's a super densely packed build, and I absolutely love it for that. There's tons of tiny cool play features that, to be honest, no one's really going to be playing with, but they add a nice touch to this build and make this really feel like a city. Another pro for these Ninjago City sets is because they're so big, LEGO has the chance to put a bunch of minifigures in it. And LEGO usually takes this opportunity to give us some of the best, rare, and exclusive minifigures that we've ever gotten. We'll get to some of those later. We didn't get many of them in Ninjago City, but yeah, overall, I have very little complaints about this first Ninjago City set, and we got way more to come. Next up, we had Ninjago City Docks in 2018, and this one wasn't as good. I mean, it's understandable, it wasn't as expensive, but I think that this one is still a pretty good set. It's modular. Again, we got some really nice minifigures, and just the way they make the water is like a consistent theme in most Ninjago City sets, and I think that they just did it super well, especially because this set is supposed to be a docks. For 2021, we got Ninjago City Gardens, and not gonna lie, this might actually be my favorite Ninjago City set of all time. For one, it was released for the 10th anniversary of Ninjago, which means they did the best they could with this set. For starters, this is way more densely packed in my opinion than the original Ninjago City, and the color scheme is just way more vibrant. That makes it much better to look at, and I just love the looks of this so much. We also get this nice statue of Zane out to the side. Again, because this was the 10th anniversary of Ninjago, we got tons of cool new and exclusive minifigures that only came in this set, which I absolutely love. Like, let's take a look at Misako, Clutch Powers. Overall, this set is fantastic, just like the Ninjago City sets, but I think this one might be even slightly above other Ninjago City sets. Now for the most recent Ninjago City set, the one that we got in 2023, Ninjago City Markets, and this one was definitely going for a whole different vibe from Ninjago City Gardens. It's going for a bit of a more wider look. Now it's being spread across 2 base plates instead of 1, which I think is pretty good. This set again has some really nice play features, but where this set really shines in my opinion has to be the minifigures. LEGO really took it up to 10 with these minifigures, giving us Camille, who fans have been asking for since season 4. We also got Cyrus Borg and Miss Demeanor, who are both great minifigures, and just in general, this set was a great collector's item because not only did it look great on display, but you got tons of cool and exclusive minifigures that I doubt many fans are going to be sad with. However, the Ninjago City sets aren't the only expensive Ninjago sets. I mean, we've gotten tons of expensive Ninjago sets that aren't Ninjago City. Let's start off with the most recent expensive set, the Tournament Temple City. This one is for $250, contains 3,500 pieces, and yeah, I like this one quite a bit. It's not as good as the Ninjago City sets in my opinion. It is definitely a level below, but to be fair, the Ninjago City sets just tower over all other Ninjago sets, so I don't think that's something to be too sad about. This set also has some pretty good minifigures, coming with like 13 minifigures in total. They definitely could have included more minifigures, but you basically get all the minifigures that you could ever want for this season in this set, and I think that that's definitely a pro for this set. Not gonna lie, the temple in this build is not that great, and it definitely pales in comparison to the temple that we're gonna be seeing next, but I think that all in all, it does look pretty good. And the rocky terrain part of this build is where this build really shines. I mean, I love the way they did the texturing on this build. I think that it just looks super great. Overall, this set was a pretty good set. Not as good as the Ninjago City sets, but when comparing anything to the Ninjago City sets, the Ninjago City sets are just always going to be better. So I don't think that's too much of a con for this set. Finally, with the last quote-unquote expensive set of this video, this one was probably the first quote-unquote expensive Ninjago set that we got, the first direct-to-consumer set, the Temple of Airjitzu. Now, this temple is just great. Now, I don't have too much to say on this set, unlike the other sets, because it isn't as densely packed and it doesn't have as many cool details, but where this set really shines has to be the build. I mean, just look at the temple. The temple is fantastic. There's no doubt about it. This set is one of the best Ninjago sets of all time. So that's gonna do it for this video. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and check this video out on the end screen now. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one.